Ever find yourself kind of stuck with an old picture in your head? Like if I said primary school computing, would you be picturing rows of those, chunky PCs in a dedicated computer lab?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We tend to hold on to those images.
Yeah.
But it's worth thinking about, isn't it? Because today's reality is probably a lot more, well, dynamic and integrated, right?
Exactly. And that's actually what we're going to dive into today, how computing is evolving in primary schools, particularly the idea of incorporating it into different subjects. We're drawing on insights from John Goodier. He's written a lot on this, and his paper, Computing Cross-Curriculum, Is It the Future? Plus all his background, that's going to be our springboard.
Seems like a great place to start. One of the things that really jumped out from Goodyear's work was this thing about his experience with those PGCE students, the trainee teachers, basically. He found that, and this is kind of surprising, not one of them felt totally comfortable teaching computing. And what's more, their view of what primary computing is was actually pretty limited, mostly around coding, PowerPoint, and Word, which, when you think about it, these are the teachers of tomorrow. So it's a bit of a red flag. We need to, broaden our own understanding of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what we can offer today.
Absolutely. Broaden perspectives for sure. And, thinking about that lack of confidence and that sort of narrow view, it really shows how much things have changed, right? Like Goodyear talks about how we've moved on from those dedicated computer labs.
It's a big shift. I mean, laptops and iPads are everywhere now, right, in the classrooms.
Hmm.
And I get it. There's maybe a bit of nostalgia for those old computer labs, but it's really opened up so much more for the students now, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's fascinating how less centralized access has actually created more opportunity. Computing isn't stuck in that dedicated room and time slot anymore. And Goodyear makes a really strong point. Modern primary computing, it's gone way beyond just coding, doing presentations, or word processing.
Oh, for sure.
We're talking about kids using spreadsheets for data analysis, exploring graphic design, and really building up this diverse toolkit of digital skills. It's a much richer field now.
It is. And if you connect this evolution to, say, a broader teaching approach,
Hmm.
it leads you right to cross-curricular integration. Goodyear's a big advocate for that. And it makes sense because weaving computing into subjects like, say, English or geography, well, it does way more than just tick a box on the curriculum. It builds these essential skills in a much more natural and effective way, don't you think?
Totally agree.
You're looking at skills like problem solving, critical thinking, and even fostering creativity. And this is where computational thinking starts to become super relevant.
Computational thinking, though, I feel like that might be a bit jargony for some people. Is there a way to explain that in a more, down-to-earth way?
Oh, absolutely. At its core, computational thinking is about how you approach complex problems.
Hmm.
It's like, how do you break a big problem down into smaller, more manageable steps?
Mhm.
And it involves spotting patterns,
Mm.
coming up with algorithms. Think of that like a set of instructions to get a specific result and being able to think abstractly. Now, of course, this is linked to computer science, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the real beauty of it is that it's useful everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're solving a math problem, planning a project, or even just organizing your thoughts. Computational thinking gives you a framework. And when you integrate computing into different subjects, well, you're naturally nurturing those skills in a way that makes sense to kids.
It really clicks into place when you explain it like that. So then, how does this actually play out in the classroom? Goodyear offers some really interesting real-world examples. Let's start with English.
Okay, great.
I mean, obviously, the basic one is just typing up their writing, which is a fundamental skill, no doubt.
Mhm.
But he gets into some much more creative territory.
Right. Goodyear talks about a scenario where students write poems, and then, get this, they use AI to turn those poems into actual songs. Can you imagine how engaging that would be for them?
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. He even suggests that they could create entire musical albums based on their writing, or even, design their own musicals connected to historical events or books.
Wow.
It's about making learning truly immersive, creating experiences that kids are going to carry with them, you know?
For sure. And he talks about a specific lesson where he did just that. Like the classroom was buzzing, kids were writing, bouncing ideas off each other, working together, and using these AI tools that, as he points out, were practically science fiction not long ago.
And what really stuck out in Goodyear's description was how the kids reacted when they first heard the music that the AI generated from their poems. He used words like phenomenal and even magical to describe it. Once they got that first taste, they were hooked. They wanted to write more, to just keep exploring their creativity in these totally new ways. It really shows how technology can kind of turbocharge imagination and make learning feel really special.
Absolutely. And it's not just English where you see this. Geography is another great example of how you can bring in computing across the curriculum. Goodyear outlines this lesson on devastating natural disasters of the last 100 years. It's a really good example of a well-structured, multi-stage learning
Oh,
process.
I like that example. The way he sets it up, the sequence is really deliberate. It starts with what he calls an unplugged activity.
Mm.
Basically, the students have a discussion, they brainstorm about natural disasters, and they take handwritten notes. It's crucial because they're building that basic understanding before they even touch any technology. It's not about rushing to the screen, right?
Right. The tech is there to enhance things, not to be the starting point. Then they move on to using AI-powered research to get more detailed information. And after that, it's guided worksheets to help them organize their learning about this topic.
Yeah, and then comes the computing part. They take the data they've gathered, things like locations of disasters, death tolls, all that, and they put it into spreadsheets. But this isn't just about typing data, it's about learning how to organize information effectively, which is so important these days. And from there, they learn how to create graphs, which helps them visualize the data, see trends, and all that. Then they can actually integrate those visuals right into their worksheets.
And how they pull it all together sounds amazing. They use Google Earth to map out each disaster, adding in facts and figures, and even use AI to generate images, to visualize these disasters, either real or imagined ones. Talk about a multi-sensory learning experience.
Exactly. And Goodyear points out how doing this kind of lesson, well, it sparks curiosity, gets students working together, and gives them those digital skills they need, all while making a topic like geography, which some might find a bit dry, into something they won't forget.
Yeah.
It's way more than just reading about it in a textbook.
Way more. The role of AI in all this seems really central to Goodyear's thinking, wouldn't you say? He definitely sees it as a game changer for education.
It's exciting, isn't it? I mean, the specifics of how it'll all play out are still unfolding, of course. But what's really insightful is how forward-thinking he is. Like, Goodyear points to this potential for AI bots to become like personalized guides and mentors for students, tracking their progress and giving them individual support right when they need it.
That's incredible. And it's not just about academics either. He also highlights how AI can really unlock creativity, that sense of wonder. And it's for all learners, no matter what their background is or what level they're at.
And that's such a crucial point. Goodyear specifically talks about the potential benefits for students with special educational needs. AI can provide that personalized support, help them overcome specific challenges, and build confidence in ways that might not have been so easily accessible before. The feedback he's gotten from teachers is really encouraging, too. They're saying things like, all students can achieve no matter what level, and children work at their own pace, but can be incredibly creative.
Those are powerful statements. And he gives even more examples of AI in action across subjects, composing music, helping kids do research more efficiently, creating graphics, and even generating vivid images to jumpstart creative writing. It's like leveling the playing field, giving students who might struggle a chance to create work they can be truly proud of.
Exactly. It's about finding that hidden potential and giving everyone the tools to express themselves and engage with learning in a way that resonates with them, regardless of where they're starting from or any learning differences they might have.
To really understand just how insightful all this is, I think it's helpful to know a bit more about John Goodier himself, his background and experience. It sounds pretty impressive.
Oh, it is. He brings this really rich and diverse background to the conversation. He's got 8 years working as a freelance computer lead and another 10 working directly in schools using Google Cloud technology. On top of that, he's been a Google for Education certified educator for the last 7 years. So that's a lot of hands-on experience right there.
And he's not just working at a high level, right? He's in the trenches, working directly with, get this, over 420 kids every week, covering the whole computing curriculum. That gives him such a grounded understanding of what it actually looks like to use this tech in the classroom.
And his journey to education is interesting, too. He actually started out in business IT. He's got over 28 years of experience in that world. Then, about 18 years ago, he transitioned to supporting IT systems in schools. He was even involved in those big projects to upgrade IT infrastructure across several schools, and he was one of the first to use Google Cloud in education. So he's seen tech evolve in both the corporate world and in education, which is a pretty unique perspective.
And it sounds like his own passions feed into his expertise too. He mentions having a background in graphic design, video editing, website design, even electronics. He believes that this gives him an edge in teaching the modern computing curriculum.
It makes sense. He's not just teaching theory. He's drawing on real-world skills, creative and technical.
Precisely. So, all that together, the technical knowledge, the years in the classroom, it really gives weight to his observations about the future of computing in primary schools. He's not just speculating, he's speaking from experience. So, wrapping up our deep dive today, I think the key takeaway is that computing in primary education has become something really dynamic and full of potential, especially when you think about this deliberate integration across different subjects and the use of AI. It's gone beyond just teaching kids to code in isolation. It's about building this adaptable set of digital skills, preparing them for a future where technology is everywhere, and doing it in a way that's engaging and relevant.
Absolutely. It's about breaking free from those old, narrow definitions of what computing is and embracing its power to nurture those essential skills: creativity, problem solving, critical thinking, and weaving them into the whole curriculum. It's about giving kids the tools and the confidence they'll need, not just to survive, but to thrive in this digital world.
And for you, our listener, hopefully this deep dive has opened up your understanding of what's happening in primary schools right now. Maybe it sparked some new ideas about the possibilities for learning and creativity that are out there.
It does make you think, doesn't it? Like, how could these examples of integrating computing and AI across subjects be used in other learning environments that you're familiar with? Maybe even in your own learning journey. It's this constant evolution of technology and education and how we can keep growing and exploring. Something to ponder for sure.